All right, so Chris,
Yes.
thanks for the workshops you just conducted, and we just finished up. So it was really intensive. So it seems like you dumped like all the knowledge you had on us. So how much of that, how much of an experience, how many years does it took you to learn all this?
I would say it took me a lifetime to learn all this stuff because it's a culmination of my 23 plus years of working, 10 years of coaching, and then the last 5 years just going into deep dive, learning as much as I can about pricing theory, about negotiation, sales, Socratic process. And so, yes, you're right. It's me taking all of my life experiences and trying to condense it down to 16 hours as it relates to pricing, sales, and overcoming sales objections.
All right, awesome. It was really, really intensive. That's what I was hoping for. Tell me, have you ever had that long workshops before?
I've never had a workshop that was back-to-back, that was a solid 8 hours each day. So I'm wiped out, but I appreciate the opportunity because oftentimes I leave a lot not said and spoken. And I think also having a 2-day back-to-back workshop gave people time to process and digest day one information so that we can pick it up at day two. Because oftentimes it'll be days afterwards where somebody's like, I have a question for you, but now you're no longer here. So I thought it was fantastic. It's a lot of work for both of us, obviously, and a big commitment for everybody, but I think it's one of the best ways to learn.
Right, awesome. So you had a mixture of entrepreneurs and professionals from all fields. How do you feel about that? I mean, normally you work with creative fields and creative professionals. Here you had like entrepreneurs from all different areas. So how did that work with you?
It was a big challenge, and that's an understatement, to have so many diverse points of view with different needs and to try to find common ground. I think once I started to understand who they were and they let me into their world, knowing that it's my best intention to help, I think the room started to gel and we just fell into a groove, and it was a beautiful thing. People who I thought were mad at me actually were enjoying it, and quiet people who I didn't think were understanding what we were talking about, they were laughing. So I think the reaction is all I could hope for.
All right, great. So tell me, in your mind, what was the biggest obstacle at first?
The biggest obstacle was to try to understand who was in the room, their specific needs, their industry, and I had a little panic attack, I'm not gonna lie, because it was so diverse, from people in automotive, real estate, finance, insurance, web design, and marketing, and sales. It was all over the place. That was the biggest spectrum of people that I've ever worked with in one sitting.
Well, I have to say you handled that really well, although I have seen in your eyes that moment where you had the panic attack. So I'm quite impressed how you handled that. Tell me, how does working with Polish audiences different from working with Western audience?
Okay, every culture has its unique obstacles, things that are deeply ingrained within the culture. I find it to be super challenging and interesting. I think there is an idea, an attitude that this is the way things are and this is the way things will be. But the realization happened with a couple individuals almost instantly, where that light bulb clicked and said to themselves, why do I believe this? I can change this and tomorrow it can be different. That these goals that I thought I had were actually very low, self-limiting beliefs that could be expanded and changed. So this particular audience, in terms of specifics, we're talking about post-communist country, and is looking to become, to catch up to the rest of Western Europe and your neighboring countries in terms of creativity, technical capabilities, and artistry. We see that, and we're here. And so I guess the big challenge, what are some of the big challenges? What do you remember? Just deeply ingrained beliefs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think we spend the most time on tackling those issues, like the way we were conditioned by our environment to think about emotions and feelings. I think this was like huge obstacle at first, and something that we had to overcome to actually, make this worthwhile for the audience and for yourself as well.
Right.
So that will be the biggest issue, I think.
Yeah. So one of the big issues is there's a barrier to emotions. It's improper to speak and to speak on an emotional level, to get into the deeper issues. And there's a general, people have their guard up and they're slightly suspicious. If you're too happy, too friendly, it's seen as being disingenuous, fake, and artificial. And I think some of that started to break down today. That being warm, being in touch with your emotions, and reaching out to somebody can actually have a very positive impact that is going to build a relationship and a bond, a trust between you and the client.
Yeah, exactly. Have you noticed any change really from the very beginning of the course, so the first hours to the end of the course, which is after 16 or 18 hours or so, really? So how big of a change have you noticed, if any, in participants?
Some participants I thought were really dug into a trench and had their walls up the whole time.
Yeah.
Surprised me by coming to me and said, "You're shocking my system. It's going to take time for it to process, but I'm hearing you." So to me, what they're saying is intellectually, logically, I understand, but emotionally, the gut is not ready to let go. So I think there's going to be a lot of soul searching. And you also shared with me after day one, several people thought, like, I didn't realize it was going to be so much mindset work, and I wasn't clear in my life, my purpose, and my goals. And one of the questions that we asked really pushed them deep into those waters, and I was glad to see that.
Yeah, you touched upon a problem that we had to tackle as well, which is the fact that many people don't really understand their needs in the first place and wants in the second place, which are even deeper ingrained. So, do you think this is a common issue, or in many cultures, or is it just something specific to our area?
I think it is common to many cultures that, for whatever reasons, artificially suppress people's ambitions, desires, and dreams. It felt extremely strong here.
Yeah.
Strong not in a positive way, but this very self-limiting belief. And I know your desire, and I can commend you for it. Your desire is to bring in people who are thought-provoking, to shake up a small community of people in hopes that those people in turn will impact their staff and other team members so this idea can spread. Yeah. Just like the idea of freedom can spread, the idea of entrepreneurship, the ability to think big and to compete on the global stage and build an internationally known brand, it is possible, but it's got to begin somewhere.
Yeah.
So right now it feels like it's a snowflake,
yeah,
and there's not much, but lots of snowflakes come together and you can build something substantial.
Yes. So this was a challenge and something new for you, and it was difficult, as we mentioned. So I'm curious whether you would take up a challenge again in the future.
I would. I'd like to take the challenge. I think what I need to do is to have a deeper understanding of the culture and the people who are going to show up so that we can hit the ground running from day one. All of this has been a tremendous learning experience for me. I hope it was equally valuable for the participants and you as the organizer, that we all have our individual goals, and my hope is that everybody gets what they came for.
I would say that, if I may, after speaking with our participants after day one, and probably this will be reinforced after speaking after today, everyone said that even though they don't really at times follow all the concepts, the ideas themselves are very, like you said, thought-provoking, and the seed is planted. So I'm really curious what's going to come up in the next 3 weeks or 3 months, and what type of results they will achieve, not only in their business life or professional life, but also in a personal life, since most of the lessons really were applicable to life in general, I would say. So I'm sure we'll get the feedback, and I'll let you know.
Okay, I'm excited to hear it.
All right, and awesome. Thanks for coming.
Great. I'd like to say something before we wrap.
Go on.
I think it would be superhuman for somebody to attend a workshop like this and say, I got 100% of the concepts. First of all, that's not necessary for success. You can literally walk away with one or the two concepts, like price bracketing and anchoring high, providing pricing options, or just learning how to say the Socratic no.
Yeah.
Just by doing one or two of those things, people here in attendance can, and I say this quite confidently because I've seen it happen before, double their income. Yeah. So it's superhuman to say 100%. We don't need 100%. I take 5%. If you can absorb 5%, and the important part is applying what you've learned. So I get it. People are shell-shocked. Their brains are overloaded and the circuits are fried. But let's see what happens in the coming week. This is a Saturday, Sunday. This is usually a time of rest. Yes. So now they're going to be fried for next week. Yeah. So let's give it a little time and see how people are able to implement.
Chris, so you just led inaugural Synapsys event. We hope to do it more in the future. So I'm curious, what is your take on the event itself? How was it organized? And in general, what are your thoughts and feelings about what we've done?
I want to say that you guys have done an excellent job in putting together this event. I know both of us were stressed out prior to actually everything coming together, but what you were able to do from securing the facility, the signage, the package that you gave all the participants, it was really all designed for them to learn as much as possible. You're very thoughtful and considerate, not only to the attendees, but to the speaker myself. You made sure I had everything I needed from the way I like to present, tons of whiteboard space. You did a really great job. And this is a first for me, that you went all out and got us live translators, because then I can move fast and there's no disruption of thought and flow. And so that was a real treat to see that. I felt like I'm a diplomat, somebody of note, because we're having the live translations going both ways, from English to Polish and Polish back to English. I thought that was fantastic. The room, it's a beautiful room. And for me, I know they seem like superficial small things, but they're really big because it makes me feel comfortable. The space primes your brain to say, this is a place of learning, exchanging information with professionals, for professionals, and I really felt that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you. So our overarching goal is to make sure that when we organize synapses or workshops, we do it in a way, and we bring people who can actually do it. We do it in a way where our participants will acquire a new skill through the knowledge you give and practices we conduct. And do you think we accomplished that in any way this day?
I think so, but the proof is in the pudding.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter what you say or I say.
Yes.
It's really the individuals that are here, how their lives move forward, what forks in the road split from the path that they were on onto the path that they're heading. I see it in some eyes here, and I can tell, and who knows how many people their lives will change, but I can already see the gears turning, the fire's getting stoked, and it's getting hot. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the report is 3, 6, 9 months from now.
I am curious myself. This was our first time, so we definitely will refine our work and how we organize the event and how the knowledge is transferred, let's say, to our participants. And hopefully when you come over in a few months, maybe a few years, you'll see the rate of improvement. And thanks for being the first one. So
my
awesome
pleasure.
Job.
Thank you for having me.